So Countess Luann de Lesseps just had an interview with Bustle, and oh my god, this woman is amazing. I really think that she's like definitely in my top 3 to 5 housewives of all time, but she is sharing how to get laid. And the first thing she wants you to know about the art of seduction is that women really call the shots. So the interviewer notes that she made waves this winter in the Bravoverse after rumors flew that she hooked up with Southern Hospitality's Joe Bradley, who was dating Summer House's Danielle Oliveira at the time. If you guys did not see the episode of Watch What Happens Live, but when the Countess and Joe were on there, it just seemed like you could see that they were gonna hook up. And it was so awkward with Danielle being in the audience and just thinking like, oh my god, what is she thinking when Luann was like holding on to Joe Bradley's hand, especially with her reputation of being a man-eater. I think it's being fearless at this point, she says of dating at age 59. It's the best decade for me personally in terms of how free I feel. When you're happy and feel free, that changes the game. So true. So in the article, Luann shares that she lost her virginity when she was 18 years old at the prom, and she actually planned it that way. We had sex in the car, which is so prom. Jim was older than me, but he was very handsome and sweet. I thought he was a perfect guy to lose my virginity to because he was so good-natured. So that was a great experience, actually. Then it just went on from there. The love affair with boys. I always feel like I need to like read back all her answers in that Countess Luann voice. When asked if there's ever been any ebbs and flows in her sex drive, she stated, "I love men and I love sex, so that's never been my problem." When talking about hormone replacement therapy for sexual health, she was asked if she takes estrogen, to which Luann replied, "I do a small dose of estrogen. We've got to keep the hormones intact, you know? Whatever it takes to keep your libido going. I kind of date like a man. I know what I want. Recently, I met somebody I really liked and my head whipped around and I was like, oh my god, now that's the guy I'd like to, you know." It turns out he's married, but it doesn't matter. The point is that I think you know when someone walks into the room. I know from my first marriage to the Count, we met and got married 2 weeks later. 5 days into the marriage, he goes, "You're gonna be the mother of my children." I said, "I already know that." So it has a lot to do with confidence. If you don't think you're great, nobody's gonna think you're great. She was also asked how she's meeting men these days, if she's on the app or if she's still going to the Regency. She responded with, "I don't go to the Regency anymore, but I'll meet guys through other friends, dinner parties, or at bars." The home goods section of Bed Bath & Beyond is a good hang. Lots of guys buying toasters and shit because they're getting divorced. Also, if you can get invited to an embassy party, that's always good because there's a lot of men there and they're foreigners. I love European men. I love Latin men. Americans are tricky. I lived in New York and then I moved to Milan and I couldn't walk down the street without, "Ciao, Bella, you have to drink a coffee with me." Otherwise, they were going to die. They put women on a pedestal, and I feel like we've lost some of that. She also shared that she's living her best cougar life right now, and is mostly going for younger guys these days. And when talking about the difference between sex with older and younger men, the Countess revealed, "So the 30-somethings and 40-somethings are into my stuff. The 50-somethings are like, oh shit, I'm 50, I had to date a 20-year-old. And the 60-year-olds have a problem in the, as Ramona Singer would call it, lower level." And we know the Countess, she will never settle for the lower level. They also asked her about Joe Bradley. Danielle Oliveira has said she believes he too hooked up after meeting on Watch What Happens Live. Anything you want to set the record straight about? The Countess responded, "She followed him on his phone to my apartment. But what she doesn't know is that I had other friends that were staying with me who were there, and Joe came over. He didn't sleep over, but he was there." Sure, Jan. Any tomfoolery you'd like to admit to? Ah, well, a lady doesn't kiss and tell. Ooh, Countess, I think you just told all. The interviewer then asked, if he came back into town, would you hang out with him again? "Well, I find him very charming and very mature for such a young man." Something that was very telling later on in the article is that the interviewer asks her a few rapid-fire questions. The first one was, "Who's your Bravo crush?" And she stated, "Oh my god, okay, Joe Bradley." I love that. Well, I guess that kind of clears things up. Do you ever make eggs a la Francaise for your lovers? All the time. So there you have it from the Countess herself. If you want to get a man, you gotta be confident and you gotta troll Bed Bath & Beyond and the embassy for seed.